Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Stacker.News Live. My name is Car with my BFF Keyan and Pleb.
We don't know if the episode's exciting yet. You said, welcome to an exciting episode. We don't know that yet, right?
Of course it's exciting.
I mean, if you're going to make a prediction whether it's exciting.
Okay, we're one of those moods today, are we?
We should maybe be clear that it's a prediction.
We're one of those moods today, are we? Okay. We're going to duke it out.
What's one of those moods?
I don't know.
I don't have.
It's okay. Every once in 50 episodes, I feel like we get into these.
I have the same mood. I was just commenting on the factual.
Or maybe it's me. Maybe I'm in one of those moods today.
That's right. You got a little uppity there.
Here we go.
Here we go. I love it though. I still love you though. It doesn't matter. You can do that. Keyan, how was your week?
It was great. It was a fun week. Just lots of silly gags and stuff happened. So
You got blinds.
They're called shades.
Where?
Got
I
shades.
don't see them.
They're not there. They're
On
the
other
window.
side. Oh.
Yeah. So got shades. I learned that the author of Ready Player One lives in Austin from the installer of my shades.
That's crazy.
Did you not know he lived here?
Nope.
Oh wow. He has a Back to the Future car.
Does anybody know his
I did not
name?
know that either.
Yeah.
Ernest Klein.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's not Orson.
He has
Scott
like
Card.
one of two,
That's a different guy.
one of four.
Really? He has a DeLorean. That would make sense. He's really into 80s trivia.
Yeah.
But the installer, he told me that he has he lives in his childhood home, but then he like built another like unit on the same property that's like new.
That's cool.
And it's filled with a bunch of his toys and stuff.
That's cool. Is he the one that also has his own bookstore in Bastrop, or is that a different author?
No, it is Ryan Holiday.
Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah.
I was thinking of Ender's Game. That's by Orson Scott Card.
He's in Austin too?
Probably
I
not.
don't think so.
I got no clue.
I think Ender's Game is older too.
Ender's Game is good. I read that recently.
It is good.
Yeah, there's a lot of creative people here in Austin.
It's just the nature of being in a big city. I'm sure everyone who lives in New York City watching this, the 1/2 person that does, is like, well, dude, I live a block away from Malcolm Gladwell. Malcolm Gladwell's my barista.
Hey,
in New York City.
Hey, we're 2 feet away from Parker Lewis. He's a famous author.
Yeah, but he's like a Bitcoin person, and
We're on the same corner as the University of Austin.
which
That's
isn't
true.
like a real university.
I'm literally like a handshake away from Juan Galt.
Dude.
That's true.
The famous Juan Galt right here.
I'm married to Bitcoin PlebDev.
My best friend is Coop. Stacker.News. Here we go. Jana, how was your weekend?
My week was great. And
Or
I
your
was
weekend, your
gonna-
week.
I was gonna ask Coob if you got to have any like Bitcoin conversations with the installer guy.
Yeah, he did ask. He's like, what do you guys do here? And I'm like, oh, there's like a bunch of Bitcoin startups in this space. And they're like, or Bitcoin, people that work at Bitcoin companies. And he's like, I never got into Bitcoin. It always seemed I never really had any money.
Oh yeah.
And then, we talked about it a little bit. I don't really try to orange pill norms.
Right. No, of course.
Yeah.
Not good at it. I think it's also of work for a little reward. But that's the extent of us. I gave each of them a hat.
Oh wow, they're gonna walk around with Stacker.News hats.
That's awesome.
Maybe they'll give one to that guy from.
You gave him trucker hats.
I gave him trucker hats.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, I wouldn't mind a free hat.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, got you.
I visited my family this week, and there was some tornado activity in Oklahoma. I got to witness.
Did
you
the
see
siren
it?
go off?
Mhm. No, sirens didn't go off because it's like one of those things you're watching the news and it's not near you, and then all of a sudden it turns and it's near you. So then we go outside, we look at the clouds, and then it turns again, and then we're saved.
That's good.
Otherwise, you would have died
I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna die someday.
to a tornado.
I don't know. I have dreams that go that way.
Wow. That sounds deep.
Wow. Is that just like, I don't know anyone who has tornado dreams. Maybe that's just more a common thing if you grew up in tornado area.
I grew up in tornado area.
That's a good way to go, probably. You know, like you're
maybe
like assisted suicide by the earth. How was your week, Car?
It was busy. Like Teresa was
like
here.
A tornado?
No, Teresa was here Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, so it was a lot to catch up on and all sorts of stuff. So got a lot done though in the beginning of the week. I feel like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday got a lot done.
Got some business.
And then got some business done. And then Thursday and Friday. Yesterday, I didn't feel like I just talked all day. I felt like it was pizza day and stuff. So that was fun. Saw the new Mission Impossible last night, so that was cool.
Was it good?
I don't want to spoil it for people.
It's supposed to be the last.
I feel like if I say anything, you're gonna come and spoil it. So there's gonna be a lot of people watching it. So I'll reserve it for next weekend so people can watch it this weekend. It's supposed to be Memorial Day weekend, so there's gonna be a lot of people watching it. It was packed. It's a packed house.
I believe it was packed.
Yeah.
These are the busiest days. The busiest days are like what is it? It's Christmas Eve and Thanksgiving Day.
Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. Those are the busiest.
It's a packed house. I will say, like the stunts, I don't know how Tom Cruise does it. Like he's just I don't know.
Power of Scientology, dude.
No, I think he's
exactly
just built different, dude. That guy's just built different as far as like a human specimen. Yeah, I don't know how tall he is, but there's something. He's short. That's probably has something to do with it. Like,
you think being short helps you do stunts?
No, I'm saying like the way he's able to like maneuver, like some of the stunts that he did in this movie, I was just like, wow.
Like where he fit through a really small door.
Well, he does do something like that, and then there's some other things that he does with a plane, but I don't want to spoil it. It's worth watching.
Have you seen those TikTok videos where they'll have like a little person get on a motorcycle, and then it's like an RC car that goes off a cliff or something? Have you not seen those TikTok videos?
No, I'm not on TikTok.
Well, they do like this transition that's like obviously a false transition, but it's just funny because you aren't expecting it. Because like someone throws a little person like a hand towel, and it's like they're like covered by a blanket. You know, like they switch the shot and they get like covered by a blanket and they like fall over. I think it's pretty funny. Maybe no one else.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
Have you seen it, Jen?
It's funnier than your
I haven't seen
toast
it.
joke.
I have a joke, and Keyan says it's dumb. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
It goes like this. I guess it's more like a riddle, but it's a funny riddle, so let's call it a joke.
Go for it.
So it goes, if people don't kill people.
It's not even the set that you.
That's wrong. That's wrong. Okay, never mind. Move on.
Yeah, we'll move on. If you've never seen this crazy show before, it's called Stacker.News Live. We cover all the stories on the front page of Bitcoin. Stacker.News. Check it out. I feel like our subscribers are going up. We got 2 more from last week. And
you're really keeping track.
Wumble is pumping out the videos or the clips. I think our last one, the most popular one from last week, was the Coinbase one. That was the one that I wanted to talk about last week. It has 158 views. I did get corrected. Apparently, you want people to comment and like on each video because that increases the views. So I was corrected. Somebody told me about that. And then the other thing was, but yeah, keep hitting subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. And then Merch just told me right before the show, this is wrong. So I need to fix this upcoming thing. So
they said it said 2 p.m.
It says
yeah, but it says 4
right
right here. Yeah. So I need to figure this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to figure out how to do this right.
Might be a time zone thing.
Yeah, it might be a time zone. I'll figure it out for next week. Thanks, Merch, for telling me. And then, but yeah, all the links are right here. Hit subscribe on all the podcasts. It is sending to Zap.Stream, so it is on Nostr right now. And then just hit subscribe. The other thing I will mention is, yeah, we're looking for somebody to handle all the social media stuff. So if there's somebody that's interested in doing that, let me know. Wumble's doing all the clips. So yeah, if somebody wants to do that, reach out to me. Cool. With all that, let me jump into today's Top stories. Is it delayed or is it just me?
It has a lag.
It has a lag?
Our view has a lag, yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully the video is.
I guess we'll fix it in
Synced up.
post. Okay, I'll fix it in post. Okay. The number 5 top story of the week is happy 2025 Bitcoin Pizza Day. This is from 030 May 22nd, Bitcoin territory, 44 comments, 2,053 cents. Keyan, what's this?
Yeah, so yesterday was Pizza Day, which celebrates. It wasn't the first public thing that was bought with Bitcoin, but it was, I think, just sort of a ridiculous amount of Bitcoin in retrospect was spent to buy 2 pizzas. And I think this was 2010. So when it first happened, there were a few other posts that detail it, and the lore is not something I'm super familiar with, but we celebrate it because probably every year there is or 10 years, 15 years from now, we'll all regret any Bitcoin that we've spent in a similar way, and this is, I don't know, kind of a meme event that we all have together. And so this poster, who has a random name that they've never changed, which makes it hard to discuss them. I believe last year they shared a picture of both their pizzas, and this year they did it again and asked everyone to share their pizzas. I think the original pizzas that were bought were, I think, 1 cheese pizza and then another
cat
combo maybe. But Jimmy Song made a pizza. That looks like.
Look at there's a duplicate post that somebody posted in the comments. Go look at that post because they included. It's in there and it says dupe and it says the name of the post.
So at the very bottom. At the very
further down. Because they just included in their post like the history of the thing. So I appreciated that. It's like 2 sentences. Gonna just keep looking. If you don't see it, it says dupe. Okay.
You might have muted them. Car mutes a lot of people.
Car mutes a lot of people.
Reply from someone you muted?
It was Supratic. So now we know that Car mutes Supratic.
You muted Boog.
Yeah, because he posts nut stuff on the saloon. Sorry, Boog, I love you, though. Which one? This one?
No, it will say dupe and it'll say the post.
Where is it
at? Toward the bottom. Someone you
muted? This one,
right
probably
there.
somebody I muted.
Yeah.
This one, yeah. Sorry, Supratic, you probably post shit quick.
So yeah, context. I just, we were just discussing what's Pizza Day. So
I guess this is classified as the first real transaction. I would maybe public transaction happened.
Oh yeah, I remember this post. This is like back in the day.
Oh yeah, but this is the origin of Pizza Day.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so
we talk about it every year.
Oh, yeah. And so he bought, I think one of them's a combo, one of them's cheese. And so that's what the OP of the last post did. They buy a combo and a cheese pizza.
Yeah.
And yesterday, Topher bought the lab pizzas, I think.
Yeah, he bought a lot of pizza.
I'm hungry right now. Is there any left?
No, we ate it all. I ate all the jalapeno pizza.
Dang.
We got it from Home Slice too. It was so good.
Shit.
I had the last piece yesterday.
Oh, did you?
That was the only piece.
And you know what? That's fair. You deserve it.
It's at the very end of the day. No one.
It was a little cold.
That's because I think the last time we had pizza was with like EK. Yeah. It's been a while.
Maybe we get pizza again. EK and I are supposed to have dinner. Maybe we'll just order some pizzas.
Oh, this is on Stacker.News. Nice.
Wait, who said I was paying for everything? What is that? It's like the first thing.
What's y'all's favorite pizza?
I love pineapple on a pizza. And there's this place that I used to go to a lot, forgetting the name of it. But they had a green lantern pizza and they would put pears on it. And it was delicious. Pears and like goat cheese. And it was amazing.
What do you think about that sign right there?
I think that's, everyone has an opinion. And I'm not trying to change his mind. I just love pineapple on pizza.
He seems pretty adamant about it.
Well, he's
Seems like there's something else he should be celebrating there.
I don't know where did that come from though? Like the stop putting pineapple. Like where did that come from?
People just like to
was that just
oppose things.
Was it just a joke
that makes them interesting?
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I think it's just a common debate that comes up when people discuss pizza is like, does fruit belong on pizza?
Oh, is that where it comes from?
But tomato is a fruit. tomato is the sauce on the pizza.
Yeah, but like non-tomato fruit, and calling tomato a fruit is like it's like its own thing. It's like its own category.
So is ketchup a fruit?
Yeah, is ketchup a fruit?
Ketchup is like fruit cocktail sauce.
It's
Yes.
just corn syrup.
Fruit cocktail?
Yeah.
It's fruit cocktail sauce.
Is it a shrimp cocktail?
You can. That's another thing you can say.
You put
that's
ketchup,
another thing.
You put ketchup in fruit cocktail?
Wait, are you stuck or are you okay?
I'm lagging. There's a lag.
Frame froze.
Anyways,
I think people should be free to put whatever they want on their pizza.
look at your president. He eats it backwards.
Wow, that's an abomination.
But it's stuffed crust. I don't know if Laszlo's pizza were stuffed
Keyan,
crust.
what's your favorite pizza, Keyan?
What's my favorite pizza?
Yeah.
That's really hard to say. I don't know if I've encountered my favorite pizza. When I was in New York City, we had great pizza.
Grape?
Great.
Oh, great.
It was very good.
Like, what is great pizza?
In town, the pizza that we like to get is
Via
Via 313.
Yeah, Via 313 is pretty darn good.
It's Detroit style pizza. They put the sauce on top
Double
of the
cheese, double, what do you call it?
I order it
Double stuffed or
I order it extra cheese, extra crispy, double cut.
Double cut. Yeah, that's what it is. Dude, we should get Via 313 afterwards. Double cut. Double.
Oh, it's on you? That's great.
We should
On
just
Pleb?
go over there. We should just go. Just go. It's right across the street or down the street. I actually like, yeah, I agree. I like Via 313, but I do like if we can go to Home Slice and it's like right there. Like if you can get Home Slice fresh, like right out of the oven, and you're not like getting it cold. I like Home Slice personally. There is another place up north called Local Slice, and they do this thing called the Hangover. That's really good. They do it with an egg. That's another really good pizza.
Breakfast pizza?
No, it's like they do this concoction, but they put an egg on top of it. It's called the Hangover. That's a really good pizza. Another good Austin pizza. And then, but my personal pizza, the one that I'll normally get just anywhere, just with like jalapenos, like onions, and like sausage and mushrooms. That's what I like, typically.
Okay. Car special pizza.
But yeah, this, I don't know what that is. It looks like a garden variety.
Garden variety.
Yeah.
It looks definitely like a vegetable pizza.
Yeah.
But I know one of them is stuffed crust, I mentioned.
Cool. Yeah, it was a good pizza day yesterday. We watched the BTC Pay doc. Me and Juan watched it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, they've been doing little documentaries about is this a different one than the ones they do on specific vendors?
No, it was the one they shot last year. It was pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah. The number 4 top story is Bitcoin Sats, Bits, Numbers, and Perceptions. This is from CRDLX's May 17th Bitcoin territory. 4,378 sats, 33 comments. Keyan, what's this?
Yeah, so John Carvalho I think wrote a BIP. I think it got a number 177. I might be wrong about the number, but I think the draft was BIP 21Q. And basically what John Carvalho is doing is lobbying to change the name of the smallest unit of Bitcoin, which we currently call Satoshis. He wants to call that Bitcoin, and stop calling the largest unit of Bitcoin. And yeah, that's what it's about. And people have been debating it. Jack Dorsey is apparently a fan of it. A lot of people like the idea. And they give a bunch of reasons for it, like fighting unit bias, because a lot of people think that Bitcoin is out of reach for them because one Bitcoin is so expensive, and that's the unit we talk about all the time. And then another reason is that Satoshi seems like an entirely independent asset, and people think that's confusing. And so when we say it's this many sats for this thing, a lot of people might not realize you're talking about Bitcoin if they're unfamiliar with Bitcoin. So that's kind of the whole thing. I mean, if I thought it were easy to do, I would be supportive of it. I just think these things are more fun to talk about than practical. But you know, if Jack does it in Cash App, I think that could get people to get other people to do it. Will Jack do it in Cash App? Will he be the first to go? I don't know. Apparently, I think they're going to stop using Sats, though. I think is what I heard, and they're going to start using bits.
Oh, really? In Cash App?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's big news.
Yeah.
Breaking. Jack says here, Sats is definitely the wrong term. It's stopping everyday people from holding and spending Bitcoin. I agree with Steve points in this video. Which Steve is he talking to?
Steve Lee, because that's DK.
DK says, watch this video on YouTube. This video makes some good points, both against and favor of BIP 21Q. Yeah, it's too long to read. Did you read any of this, Keyan?
Yes, I read all the top posts of the week, and
can you give a summarization on
that? He's basically discussing the BIP that we just discussed, and shares their opinion on it. And he more or less says that there's not, he gives all the reasons for it from his own perspective, more or less a rephrasing of all the pro arguments. Shows off Boardwalk Cash's implementation of it. Discusses that it doesn't require a fork of any kind. Discusses that there would have to be, we'd probably want some coordination to prevent confusion, but there's no forced coordination like Y2K. Compares it to Y2K. Another interesting, he discusses how we might be able to slowly transition people to using Bitcoins instead of Satoshis, the smallest unit, using an example of Exxon. I guess Exxon, before it was called Exxon, used to be called ESSO, which was the pronunciation of the acronym SO, Standard Oil, but they wanted to change it to Exxon, so they changed it to Exxon, and they using a sign. Or in their advertisements, they would have both, and over time they gradually switched the positioning of them, then dropped the SO and sort of subtly, gradually changed their branding to the point where most people probably don't realize that they changed their branding. That's what the post is about.
Also, JP Morgan Chase is Chase Bank now. We can just say Chase Bank, and you know what you're talking about, but they had to say JP Morgan Chase for years when they were rebranding. But what is the rebrand for? You say Bitcoin bits? Like, oh, I'm going to send you 2 Bitcoin bits. Or do I say 2?
You say bits instead of Satoshis.
I just say bits.
That's one variation on this. It's got people talking
about. But the bridge variation is like Satoshi bit, not Satoshi bits. It's like Bitcoin Satoshis.
Yeah, that's what some people. I mean, I haven't followed that very closely, but it's just something. It's like another thing to bike shed in Bitcoin and give.
I don't know. So I got a lot of pleb Spidey stuff going off in my head right now, but maybe it's too early to jump into the conspiracy stuff. But so we'll save that for another day.
Spider, so you might want to.
Well, my pleb Spidey sense goes off whenever I see stuff like this, so maybe we'll save that for another day. But anyway,
it's up to you.
No, we'll save it for another day.
No
one wants to hear it.
I'm a big fan of Cash App.
Me too.
And when they switch Satoshis to bits, I actually won't be mad at all, and that's how loyal I am to Cash App.
Whoa. I think just give people the option. That's what I would say. Just let people call their sats.
Well, they already have the option. It's just.
Oh, you can turn it into bits and sats?
Yep. If you, I mean,
okay.
Oh, you mean in the app?
Yeah.
You want to give them the, oh, I didn't realize you meant give every retail customer the choice. I thought you meant each company should choose for itself.
No, I mean, like like Janice said, like if they're going to do bits or sats, just like give us the option to use sats or bits. Because I already have it in my head what's sats, you know?
I would love a user test. If you could make this public, as many user tests as you can do as possible. Like sit down with people that have basically heard of the word Bitcoin, and that's it. and just be like, hey, we're going to give you $20 of Bitcoin, but we want you to onboard onto this wallet. We're going to send you $1 or whatever for, just go through this series of steps.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, as soon as they get, and then A/B test it with Satoshis and bits. Yeah. How do the new people, because I'm genuinely curious, like, how much of a stumbling block is this? Like, I can imagine it's a stumbling block, but another way I can imagine how to just be given the Satoshi unit is itself a lesson. It is itself an invitation to learn and know more.
Mm-hmm. I actually, so I'll say, I won't go on to my conspiracy stuff this week. We'll say it for another week. But I will say it makes Bitcoin less valuable by calling it bits, personally. That's without me going into conspiracy stuff.
I see. And the explanation for it is a conspiracy?
No, because I think calling them sats makes it more valuable, but calling them bits don't make it valuable at all.
Wait, but why?
I think because looking from it from like a computer, like science perspective, it's just bits. They're just like, it's just bits. Doesn't make it valuable calling them bits. Everything's bits. So it would to me, if a person says here's a couple bits, it's like it's a very derogatory term.
Oh, I see. You think there'd be like some
confusion. There's no perceived value with that.
I see. There's low value.
Yeah. Contrast, like the contrast between Satoshis and whole coins. Is that kind of what you're saying?
I'm saying, like, if I call something like I'm
saying that it has a simple. It's like if your parents named you Trash, mm-hmm. instead of Austin.
I'm following.
Then it devalues you because they associate you with trash. And he's basically saying the word bits. Most people would think of bits, ones and zeros.
Yeah, or like Twitch bits. That's actually Twitch's tipping currency, which is not, it's not, crypto or anything. It's just, tipping currency is called bits.
They might be doing like a reverse Halo where they're like, they realize bits are associated with Bitcoin maybe. And then
so they're stealing that Bitcoin clout.
Yeah.
That'd be smart.
Stealing that clout.
Yeah, that's without me going into conspiracy stuff, but that's what I'll share today.
I think we should call them Black Rocks. That's what I think we should call them.
That's funny.
There's Boomer Rocks and Black Rocks.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anybody else had any takes on this stuff, or are we good ending it there?
I don't have perfect insight on this, but I'll follow up and ask. I kind of have the sense that the Boardwalk hash is not actually a really opinionated stance on how to display the unit. I think it's more of like the dev just did it, and then it's still that way.
Oh, it sounds like you know somebody in there.
I don't know. I'm just saying. But also, like, to make a broader and more interesting point about that, I think that a lot of this is kind of within the control of app devs. Mm-hmm. I have an app. Do I want to show Satoshis on PlebDevs? Maybe I'll show bits. Maybe I'll be an early adopter. So it's kind of on the app devs, which is a weird turn of events for a Bitcoin argument.
Yeah, John Carvalho actually submitted a PR to Stacker.News to change Satoshis to Bitcoins.
Did somebody close it, or
EK? Yeah, EK.
Respond to that, EK.
I mean, we were talking about it in his posts. So before he created the PR, he created a post on Stacker.News asking about like what people think about it. And then he also mentioned like more people are agreeing with me, and then I asked for the source, and then he was kind of like, I can't really explain, but he wasn't really telling, like he just shared a screenshot of his own tweet saying the same thing, and then I said like, that's just a screenshot, can you give me a link? And he said, I don't quite remember, but it was quite weird how I was like asking for proof and he didn't give me any. And then he created the PR, so it was felt like a bit he was trolling me. Then I trolled him back by just closing it. And he also admitted like it was just an AI generated PR where he just replaced all mention of sets with Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't really a serious PR, so I don't But I did feel a bit bad to just close it because I didn't even ask Keyan. So yeah.
No, John sent me a chat message, like a DM, where he sent me the close link, and then he's like, "Hey, how are you?" with the close link. I don't know. I mean, it's not my fight. So if he wants to do it in BitKit, if he wants to do it in PubKey,
is you talking about that part right there? It says one sat equals one sat.
I'm with him in spirit. I don't have the energy for this shit.
Yeah,
he's trying to rebrand stats to bits.
All right, hang on.
He was.
So he was just like trying to like get you guys to rebrand sats to bits.
Yeah,
that's wild. We can look up the PR. Like he also mentioned in there, like I'm creating this PR, but you're not gonna merge it anyway. So
yeah.
So it was, I don't know what he was trying to do, except being a troll.
I think he's just having fun. I think John just likes to have fun. So
cool.
Yeah, he's very, very good dude.
So yeah, let's go to the next one. Number 3, tops. Why didn't that show up here?
Because you put the hashtag number instead of the link there.
The number 3 top story is get yourself to a Bitcoin meetup soon. This is from Siggy47, May 19th. Bitcoin territory, 32 comments, 2,023 sats. Keyan, what's this?
Yeah, so Siggy recounts his latest Bitcoin meetup, and he said he's been going monthly for a while now, and uses it to extol the virtues of other Bitcoiners going to meetups. Apparently, he met a well-known Bitcoin influencer that he doesn't reveal here, and he didn't even know them, but I guess they were an influencer in the past. So he felt like he learned a lot from them and found them interesting, and found interesting how they conveyed Bitcoin to people who are a little newer to Bitcoin. He said he did a great job. I guess they had recently been to BitBlock Boom, which I didn't even know was happening, but apparently that happened in Dallas a few weeks ago. It's a real thing when it's here in Austin, but I didn't even know it was going on because it happened in Dallas. Yeah. And he showed them RoboSats. He talked to them about Graphene OS, and was a real whiz, and felt good about it. But said it also cheered him up because he wrote a few weeks ago about some of his friends are having health issues. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
Looks like B57 says, I'm glad to read this. I also like to attend an event like this, although I don't know how or where these meetings are planned. Siggy, excuse my ignorance, but I have 2 questions. Do you have a podcast? How do you get a phone with Graphene operating system? And then Siggy says, I don't have a podcast. But Siggy has a lot of posts on Graphene. This is one of them. Yeah, he's kind of a pro at Graphene stuff.
Yeah, he wrote a really great guide.
Yeah.
One of the first I think we ever had. Other people wrote them after, but
yeah, Siggy is actually like a really interesting stacker, I would say.
He said he was showing off his graphene, and it made he felt like James Bond.
Yeah. Yeah. I like Siggy a lot. He's one of my favorite stackers. Zap. 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 Cool. Let's jump into the next top story, which is number 2, Mini Pleb Economist, no tax on tips. May 21st, econ territory from Simple Stacker, 24 comments, 2,035 sats. Keyan, what's this?
Yeah, so Simple Stacker makes a few predictions on the No Tax on Tips Act that was recently passed by the Senate. I guess it unanimously passed, apparently. Which is, I don't know how common that is, but probably not super common. But he makes a few predictions. Because most of these things, they pass on the merits of the first order consequences, and usually the second and third order consequences are ignored. But I guess in the post he details a little more about what happens or what the bill portends. I guess the Treasury Department is going to list the occupations that are known to have tips, and so they'll be in that exclusion list. And occupations that claim tips to prevent abuse will be not allowed to claim no tax on tips. Basically, it says that some of the second order consequences will be lower wages for a lot of service workers because they'll be presumed to be making more money from their tips. There will be the expectation of higher tips. Being upset, lack of tips will increase. I can't see the post, so I'm going to go to the post so I can read it. As he lists off 3 issues. More jobs will be added to fit whatever definition of eligibility. So if part of what makes someone eligible for no tax on tips is that they serve drinks, for instance, you'll get drinks served to you perhaps in places you wouldn't normally, just so people can get eligible for getting this tax incentive. And then the wage suppression thing, which I already mentioned, he says like the third order consequence of that will be that there'll be minimum wage increases because a lot of bosses will not be raising wages because people will get more of their compensation from tips and will want more of their compensation in tips, but then that will be complained about, and there'll be statistics that show that their base wage is lower, and then so minimum wage will be raised. Anyway, just kind of fun to make these predictions well in advance of the consequences happening. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, he had Undisciplined with the top comment. He said, nice predictions. I especially like the one about dirty looks for not tipping. Stacker said, hey, so now you won't have to pay taxes for all the tips you receive on Stacker.News for your pod, right? Split says, that's right, although I think we're well below the reporting threshold for gifts. What do you guys think about it?
I was thinking about this last night, actually, because we were here pretty late. I got a burger from Burger Bar on the way home, and it was a pickup. And it gave me the option to tip. And I didn't do it. I'm sorry. I didn't do it.
Oh, no.
I didn't do it. And then but it's like, you're going to pick up the food. I think Justin Moon, he died on this hill, so I don't have to. He said, if I walk up, if I paid for it and I just walk up to a counter to go pick up my food, I'm not going to tip you. That's like his cardinal rule. Sometimes I do tip for pickups, but anyway, I didn't. And I had like the only pickup order there. And I was thinking to myself, like, they probably spit in my food. But not really that, but more of like, well, if I'm the one guy not tipping, it's almost like the floor has moved beneath me. I'm a bad customer. I'm no longer just a normal customer. I'm now a bad customer, and just like the floor has moved beneath me, and all of a sudden, subliminally or implicitly, I forget what you would say, like the responsibility to tip is on me, but I wasn't explicitly told that. And that's like kind of a bad dynamic. And like, since I used to work for tips, there's a lot of principal agent problem for like tipping, and when you're trying to work for tips, between getting paid less for your tips or doing things outside of the purview of your company to better serve your customers to get better tips. But it's good to not tax tips. They shouldn't be taxed.
I think it's not. I don't think they should be taxed. Oh, I like that. I mean, less tax is good. I think for as far as like tipping on pickups, I tip at Royal Blue. Anytime there's a tip screen, I just tip. I just do it because whatever the like lowest button is. Yeah. I just do it because it's I don't want to have this. It's not worth the internal
conflict.
Yeah, this conflict that you expressed. That sounded that was like what, 5-10 minutes. It's now consumed. It's now carried with you into the next day. The significance of this. Yeah. Was it worth $5?
Yeah, I'm messed up.
I don't know. So I hit the button and I kiss the money goodbye.
You guys say something more?
I think we should call it guilt tipping, instead of guilt tripping.
Yeah. Guilt tipping.
Guilt tipping.
I actually feel nothing when I press the no tip button.
I only do if they're a minority, maybe if they're in need.
You feel no guilt if they're a minority?
Wait, no. Here. Well, so if they're white, I just don't tip them. I don't look at them in the eyes
because they're privileged.
Yes.
Okay. Because their ancestors were tipped already with slaves.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. They're living off of tips basically already. Like their whole existence.
History. Your history is your tip.
But see, with Royal Blue, it's like I go in and okay. Anyway, I'm gonna stop before I get in trouble.
There are people of color at Royal Blue.
I even press custom to tip 10%, so I like add some friction to myself to tip less, but I still tip something, so I do feel like good about it.
I always tip on Stacker.News, even when someone insults me, I tip them. So that's a good culture.
Yeah. I think that's also, it does. I wrote about this on Stacker.News years ago where I had gotten so used to zapping and I thought it like sort of desensitized me to tipping generally. Anyway,
pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's jump into the number one story of the week. Can you believe it? It is went to Steak and Shake today. Seeing stats on the receipt was the craziest thing. This is from 0285 Bitcoin territory, May 20th. 46 comments, 5,060 sats. Keyan, what is Steak and Shake?
Yeah, I think we talked about this last week, but Steak and Shake has started to accept Bitcoin. I think they partnered.
Do they use bits?
I think they use sats.
Did Carvalho open a PR to Steak and Shake? Just wondering.
He should. I think they use sats, and I think they use crazy. They're using, I think, Flash Pay.
Speed.
Maybe that would just be like a European thing. Bits. There'll be bits, and then United States will be sats.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be a thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like freedom fries.
Or like metric and what's the other one?
Yeah,
whatever that is.
That's right. It'll be like that.
Or like miles and
bits is really the metric system of naming Bitcoin.
Yeah,
units. So yeah.
Because isn't Jack Dorsey in like Europe too? So that makes sense.
I think he's like I think he built his own island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, that makes sense. He should totally be using bits over there, and then let us Americans use cents.
I think it's what he does. Or he lives on a satellite with Elon Musk. I can't.
There you go. That makes total sense. Let him use bits on his island.
In the cloud, he's with us all the time, everywhere.
Let him use bits on his island.
He's uploaded himself
with the rest of the Europeans.
Anyway, this poster, again, a random number name. They went to Steak and Shake and paid with Bitcoin. They paid with their home node. So they're non-custodial, running a full node at home. Well, probably a full node with LND. And I think they use Zeus on top of their LND, probably, I would guess. Or maybe they even did it from a command line. And he opened a channel to them. And
what do you think all those stars are decoding?
I effing opened that channel myself.
Okay. Is that enough stars?
I think so. I think if you count them out, FUCKING. Yep. 1 star for each of those letters.
I wonder why he felt like he should star them out.
I don't know. Maybe.
Or she.
Maybe he thinks some stackers are children.
I wonder if there are.
I know that some have brought their children on, but they also might be scammers. Just like, I'm 14. What's Bitcoin?
Oh, right. I remember that.
This is so cool. I'm just gonna say this is like one of my favorite posts. It's so. I wish you would have showed the receipt.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the Steak and Shake node. There's no Steak and Shake node. Then I looked for the Speed Wallet node, and it seems like they have like 8 nodes. I was just looking on like public, so I wonder how he found it. If maybe like. So if he paid them, that means they created the invoice. So he got that node pub key out of that invoice, maybe. Maybe. Dox him. Dox Steak and Shake.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Yeah, to get the actual node pub key from the invoice.
But it's probably just one of Speed's nodes they have.
I read somewhere on Stacker.News that the node is called Speed 1. When you look it up.
Yeah, I just confirmed that is one of the speed nodes. Okay. Let's go deploying liquidity, boys.
Let's give him that shake. That Satoshi shake.
Give him that Satoshi milkshake theory. I don't know.
Oh, there it goes. They even put fiat amount. Let's go.
Whoa, interesting. Is that wait. Is that bits?
No. Oh, it is bits.
$20. Yeah, 966.
No. That's 966 Satoshis. But yeah, they're using Bitcoin.
Oh, wait. Exchange rate $1 USD. Oh, $1 USD equals 960.
All Bitcoin transactions are final.
Oh, it's fake.
It's fake.
How do you know that's fake?
Whoa.
The way you said it, I believed it. I believed it when you said that.
People were complaining about it because it said like,
Here, hang on.
Yeah, it said like exchange rate. It's like 0.9988 something Satoshis, right? It's a huge number, right? So then people started like memeing it. It's like, no, this is what it should look like, and so that's part of what triggered the whole argument about it.
This is the derivative.
That's funny.
Version.
It should look like that. All Bitcoin transactions are final. We should move to that world. I love that.
It's already the world, isn't it?
No, but I'm saying like you shouldn't get a refund. Screw that.
I wonder if they actually put fiat amount as well. I know that image is fake, but you almost kind of don't even notice it. But this is like our word that we're forcing into the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Fiat?
It's like if you use the word fiat, you're kind of like, we're kind of taking grounds in the argument, Well, it's like the term conspiracy theory. Like if you acknowledge that the idea you believe is conspiracy theory, you're almost ceding some of your ground by just like stepping within the framing of conspiracy theory. Just like if you step into the framing of, oh yeah, it's we have fiat integration. It's like, oh, okay, so you have a controlled cucked Visa interchange expensive integration. Okay, cool.
But central bankers use the term fiat, and like more traditional finance people use the term fiat pre-Bitcoin, and certainly gold bugs use the word fiat a lot.
That is true. Yeah. More, I guess so, is more like an economic term that's just brought into the forefront.
Are you guys going to Steak and Shake this weekend? Are you guys going to make the drive to?
That's one of the big things I'm looking forward to.
I'm just curious about like how the actual food was. He didn't say anything about that.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had Steak and Shake, to be honest.
Steak and Shake is like Waffle House. It's when I used to tour back in the day, we go to Steak and Shakes a lot because they'd be open all night. So you could go get a big meal that wasn't too expensive, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
That's sad.
They got fire shakes. They do.
Can I tell a story? Can I tell a quick story about Steak and Shake?
Yep.
I had a school teacher that was pretty fun. And he was my basketball coach. And anytime the band played for our games, they would play like do 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 do. So my coach came up with a song for it because every time we finished a game, he'd want to go to Steak and Shake. So the song goes, "Take me to Steak and Shake," and then he just sang that to me all the time.
That's funny.
Wow.
Shout out Coach Cox.
There you go.
Whoa, terrible coach name. You know why they call me Cox, kids?
We're going to jump into Keyan's. That's all the top 5 stories this week. We're going to jump into Keyan's picks. Keyan, your first pick was A Strange Moral Relativism. Did I say that right? Relativism?
Yeah.
Free trade from Undisciplined. What's this?
Yeah, so Undisciplined is writing about how there's some weird sentiment around free trade and the idea that free trade is always good, even if on the other side of the trade, someone is getting oppressed or abused by their government. And so usually that's what's going on in most trade scenarios, is that you have a government, say, subsidize, let's say you buy cotton t-shirts from Malaysia, and they're really cheap. And part of why they're really cheap is that the government of Malaysia is subsidizing the cotton t-shirt trade there. That means that they're taking money from someone. And so in that case, it's maybe we're calling it free trade, but it's not free to whoever is getting taxed to subsidize that industry. And so that's kind of the gist of this, is that you probably want to consider the system as a whole when you're thinking about these things and whether they're ethical or not.
So it was funny. Me and Juan actually we didn't talk about exactly this yesterday, but the moral, what did you call it yesterday? You called it the NAP non-aggression principle. And I think we talked about it at least for like an hour. It seemed like we went deep on it. And I think I actually walked away learning something. I think I came to the conclusion that I think it's on the chart over there, or it's on the red whiteboard there. I don't know if you can bring it over here, Ted. Yeah, and so that was what we came up with. Literally, I think I've come to the conclusion, I'm okay with it now, is I think there's just a balance to everything, good and evil, and depending on where you sit on that balance, you have to leave the good and evil to do its thing, and then there's people in the middle, and there's neutral, and depending on how the system works.
Wait, you're all the way.
No, we were kind of just doing this, like we weren't like forcing ourselves into it, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was more of a how would you say? It was like a how would you say? We were just kind of like theorizing, right? We weren't like philosophizing. There you go. But we were saying, like, if this was a system that you would look at, that you would paint onto the world, like, you have to have this balance of evil and good, and this is where that would sit with it. And so when I see something like this, I read this earlier in the week too, because I was like, yeah, how do you fix that? And I don't think you can fix that. I think there just has to be a balance to it. Anyways, I don't know if it's helpful at all, but Juan, you want anything to add?
I mean, it's a pretty deep topic, but yeah, I don't really want to get into it.
Wow. Okay. Well, I felt like I walked away learning something from that, because I always felt like this side was the only right side. But yesterday I walked around and I was like, actually, there's something to be said about people that do evil. Janice like shocked. That's why I apologize.
Wait.
No, because if you didn't have people doing evil, then what would be the sense of people doing good? And in one sense, though, you would even say that people that do good, they can do evil inadvertently.
I don't like this. I actually don't like this argument, because it's almost like saying if there weren't pink elephants, then gray elephants wouldn't exist. And I just don't. You know what I mean? You don't need pink elephants for gray elephants to exist. You don't need.
Yes. Let me give you an example, though.
They're just good.
Let me give you an example. This is why I want to get into it. Let me give you an example. So let's just say hypothetically, you create something, right? That then you inadvertently do something that then triggers something else. It's what Einstein did when he created the E equals MC, and then he inadvertently created the means for the atom bomb.
Right.
He wasn't trying to create the atom bomb. He inadvertently was just trying to just create theoretical whatever physics.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could say he was doing something good for the species. And that's where I've come to realize, like, there's just always going to be people that are going to take advantage of good people doing good things for their own evil.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it came.
Well, there will be the world like pink elephants exist, if that's evil in my metaphor. Yeah, they exist.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And yeah, but I think you can get rid of them though.
Yeah.
Like if we had the option to, I mean, if we had the option to, I would safely say let's get rid of evil. I don't think wouldn't be worried about the consequences of evil being gone.
But there's always going to be
yeah.
There's always going to be an Oppenheimer that's going to come and say, I will build that bomb for you. right? Like there's always going to be somebody like that will say, I will build that bomb for you, and then go.
In reality, yes.
Yeah. But there's a balance to that, right? So
let's hear what Juan has to say about.
So I agree. I'm on the side of evil is bad, and if we can get rid of it, that'd be good, But there's been some statistical analysis on like the game theory of this, so to speak. And so the way they frame it is say, well, you have entities that collaborate, and if they collaborate, they both get 1 point each or 3 points each, right? But and there's also entities that steal, like they play nice at first and then they steal. And if they steal, then the thief gets 2 points and the collaborative entity loses, it gets no points, right? And so you can sort of now model the sort of morality based on like a point system. And what happens is basically there's certain game theory strategies around this, but the bottom line is cooperative strategies create a bunch of wealth and they expand very rapidly, but then they expand so rapidly that eventually the predator class has a lot of food. And so then they start eating and like basically scamming, and then they start reproducing, and then they eventually take over and they can like overrun societies until there's not much left to eat. And then they die out, and then the other one expands again. So there's a cyclical nature to this. And basically abundance as the fruit of virtue eventually creates the conditions in which evil sort of succeeds.
Yeah.
And that's the cyclical dimension.
Oh, I see. That makes a lot of sense.
Anyway,
Good job, Juan.
Anyway, yesterday we were talking about it. I was like, I like this. Like, it's not that I wasn't gonna like it, but I was like, I was like, man, I actually walked away learning something where before I might have been like, no, I don't want to believe this, But it was actually a really good conversation. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a good jam. Cool. Do you guys have any thoughts? I feel like we haven't heard from y'all over there on that side.
I want to drop just a name here.
Yeah, go for it.
And I'd be curious if Undisciplined is aware of this person and what he said in his work. For like extrapolating consequences of like messing with a complex system in game theory. Daniel Schmachtenberger is a really good person to follow up with and hear from.
Is he the Berkeley-based journalist?
I'm not sure where he's from.
Okay.
He doesn't poke around a lot, but Brett Weinstein did a few episodes with him like a long time ago that you could find.
He's not the guy who writes a lot about climate science?
I don't think so.
Okay.
He's kind of hard to pin down. You don't really know exactly what he's about, but he says some good stuff.
Okay.
If I can summarize, not to bastardize what you're saying, he's kind of an X-risk kind of guy.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. What does that mean, X-risk?
Yeah, like existential risk, feels that he has the moral and philosophical responsibility to talk about it and think about it all the time. But is interesting and is a good thinker.
That's good. Cool. Share it on Stacker.News. I would like to read it. Or check it out. Cool. That was a good post again. The next one that you had was people who love online life. And this is from Elvis Mercury, mostly harmless. 19 comments, 2,296 sats. What's this?
Yeah, I just thought this was just from today, so it was on my mind. But Elvis said that he wrote in his notes that he's wondering why his online life feels kind of gross and it feels subtractive and corrosive. And then and then he knows that people like Tyler Cowen have sort of the opposite experience online, and and it seem to be enjoying their online existence, and it's additive and positive for them.
Oh wow!
And yeah, and it was just kind of. I thought it was a good question, and a lot of people had a lot of things to say about it, and yeah, I thought it was nice.
Yeah, he says, Undisciplined said, can you unpack what online life means? And then Undisciplined says he's mostly on Predex and Stacker.News and watches sports. OP said, probably each person has a particular definition. You've just given a good workable definition for you. He says, interactions with people or other cognitive agents mediated by computers and the internet. Then the form that takes would vary widely from relatively sparse engagement on these platforms to chronologically online folks, doom scrolling Twitter, automatically refreshing 4chan. This is a good example of what I was getting at. I often enjoy talking to people on Stacker.News, but I also often take damage from reading people being aggressively assholes. I get stirred up by it, even if I'm not the target of their. Okay. Sounds like he's just like everywhere.
Oh, I don't think that's everywhere. I think that's him describing the complexity of the situation. And I would think that my own read into this is that I think the main thing that makes someone like Tyler Cowen different is that he's probably not he's not interested in reading the aggressive assholes, and probably has a pretty good emotional mental filter around it. And I just think some people are built with better filters. Sort of like knots. Just kidding. But yeah.
Cool. And then Pleb Poet said something.
Actually, go to my other comment that stands alone. And there's a Theo Vaughn clip, and I wonder if you'd play that.
Yeah.
Oh, also I made that meme.
Oh wow.
Is that you when you were a kid? Or?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
You're a tomboy?
That's a cool picture.
You can't see the bottom of it though.
Oh, really? There you
go. Car, do you ever watch Theo Vaughn?
Sometimes, yeah, I'll see clips.
Yeah. So
where is it at?
It was just right above that picture.
Oh, right here.
So you'll go down some rabbit holes, and with the algorithm can lead you to do some crazy stuff.
Like what?
Like want to do crime, I'll say it. Like want to do crime because the algorithm is like, oh yeah, I saw you mingle it over there. You want another hit of that fucking smack, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
you want another fucking couple of hot doses of fucking Gaza core,
Charlie Kirk.
Oh yeah, Jesus Christ! Next thing you know, it just gets crazy, and then you're just choking out your neighbor. Dude.
Yeah, I do feel like especially Twitter X feeds me stuff I don't want to see. Like the algorithm, it builds out, just like you're saying, if you like do doom scrolling or whatever, you're on your phone for too long, it's not that long before you're seeing stuff. I don't relate to it.
So you'll go down some rabbit holes.
Yeah.
You think that's true about X?
I think so.
I think someone here would definitely agree. His name is Ted, the Fed.
Ted?
Whoa.
I think this really comes down to inside your brain, there's two pieces, right? There's kind of there's two wolves. You got the front of your brain, the back of the brain. And some people are better integrated or more in control. For me personally, like I have a big gap between what my goals and aspirations are and what I like to click on social media. I think everyone's like that to varying degrees, but that's why if you had a filter that was built in, it would just get the stuff out so you don't have to,
Only if there was like a feed filter of a sort.
And you wouldn't have to execute kind of self-control to kind of...
Or somebody would make something like that.
We shouldn't have to exert effort to, constantly be scraping stuff out of our environment. It should just be like put it on sunglasses.
And then you can be like young Jana here and just like have fun.
That looks like a Hispanic boy.
I know, I was joking.
Why did I believe that?
Even I didn't believe that.
It's not me. It's not actually me.
I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
I want to say I told Ted that the feature I want for feed filter is I just thought of a name for it now. Thought control. Oh, just filter out all the thoughts.
THOT. Yeah.
Thought control. Get it? Okay.
Yeah. Don't look at Austin's Instagram.
What?
What is a thought?
What is a thought?
Like just a scantily clad women filter, because that's what the feed likes.
That hoe over there.
If you're a man, damn shame. Hate that stuff. Back to you, Jana.
Scantily clad.
That's Keyan's stories this week, I think. Is that all? Yeah, that's all.
Yep, I had 2.
Oh, wait, hang on. Yeah, EK had something. Hang on. Whoa.
I'm a bit late to say this, but once you realize that Jenna's initials can mean just kidding, a lot makes sense about her.
Yeah, because I like to kid around, and my initials are JK.
JK. Cool. I'm going to jump into my stories this week. The first one is Jippi. So Oliver inside the lab has been working really hard the past, I would say, month to launch some beasts in Vegas. So he's going to launch six new beasts. If you're going to the Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas next week, download the Jippi app. Do you want to come on real quick and tell people what's going on? So this is Oliver. Oliver, you guys probably know him. He's building Jippi. Tell people what you're doing in Vegas, Oliver.
First of all, check out this. I just picked this up from a friend, hodlhat.com.
Really cool. Wow, that's cool.
Really, really awesome. So, so we are doing Beast Catch in Vegas, which is crazy. Crazy. We're doing Beast Catch in Vegas, which is crazy when you think about attendees. Going to be a good 30,000 people there. And you can catch our Bitcoin-themed beasts. There are 6 of them. We've got some amazing sponsors, from Bitcoin trading cards to Geyser and Bitcoin Well, just some amazing companies we're working with. So you can catch one for 1,000 sats, 6 in total, 6K sats up for grabs. Yeah, and it's just going to be an absolute ball. So please play along. It's going to be great.
Awesome.
Are you nervous at all, Oliver?
I really hope that it doesn't shit the bed. We're testing it now, and we think it's going to scale. But I think the biggest difficulty, apart from the GPS coordinates, and we can definitely dial in the specificity of things, but it's hard to tell how it's going to operate with 30K people in the room, and how it's going to operate with big buildings and thick walls. So that's going to be a struggle. But as well, yeah, just it's assumptions at this point. So I hope it's going to go well.
Keyan, what do you think? What do you think about Oliver's tenacity?
I think I love tenacity in all forms, and I think this is a great idea. I love the design of it. I think it's perfect. I think the last one you did in Austin, it was a big prize, and only one person could get it.
Yeah, correct.
But this is a sort of I would say like a medium to small prize, which lots of people can get, and I think that is probably better for what you're going for. So I love that. I love that you're doing it around the conference, which is highly convenient for both you and the attendees. So
it's also cool too. Like I was telling him, like, this is what Airbnb did. Like in the early days, they would do their Airbnb bed and breakfast around conferences.
Yeah, and I think this model of going to Bitcoin conferences and partnering with companies to sponsor beasts is a nice way to encourage people to just naturally play the game, because they're going to be there anyway, right?
Yeah, there's like 30,000 in attendance anyway.
Yeah, so try and gamify the experience for folks.
Yeah.
And I think the more times we run this, the better it's going to get.
You're going to get smarter at it. You're going to get smarter at it too. And you're literally doing the only AR play right now, so it's really cool.
Thank you. It's worth mentioning as well that we are partnering with Thunder Funder and a bunch of other companies to put a seed phrase in Jippi, and there's a lot of other companies that are doing that too. And with that, if you get all the 12 seed phrases, the first person to do that will win 1 million sats. So and that's not just from Jippi, but that's from Thunder Funder. So there's more sats on the line if you play that game. And when you catch a beast with Jippi, that's where you'll see the seed phrase.
Awesome.
So happy hunting. Yeah, stack them all. Enjoy.
Thanks, Oliver. Congrats, too. Yeah. Wrong one. I'm just so proud of Oliver. Just so proud of Oliver, man. Just seeing him just hustle every day. Cool. And then the next one I wanted to share was oh wow, this one didn't show up either. I feel like all my things. Let me just go here. Let me do this thing instead. The other one was this one, which was the I did a early days episode with John Carvalho, one of them. He's been in Bitcoin for 13 years. We didn't talk about the BIP stuff because I just wanted to talk about the PubKey stuff and Synonym and see how that's doing. So we talked about that. It was a good episode. I asked him a lot of questions around PubKey. Very similar to what Froster's doing inside the lab. He has a somewhat different approach, but it's very similar. I don't know if I haven't really asked Austin about it, but
Froster can work on PubKey. It'll just be called something different. But I'm pro PubKey. I love the idea. I'm being dragged back over here. And huge respect for Carvalho and like the ideas behind PubKey. I really hope to see it grow and see contributors go to it.
Yeah, he had some really interesting takes on the decentralized. He's calling it the next web, but I think if you're interested in seeing where that's going and how AI is going to play, how he's going to implement AI, I think it's worth listening. And I put all the timestamps here, so you don't have to listen to the whole episode.
Yeah, and there's no more TBD. There's no more, they might be at the forefront of Web 5 now. If you're a Web 5 guy, you might be looking to Synonym as one of the leaders in the space right now.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of money behind it. Cool. And then the other one I wanted to mention was, this was a post I wrote in response to what was going on Saturday. We won't have to bring it up, Keyan. I don't want to put you through that all over again. But
put me through what? I just don't care.
I know you don't care. That's why I don't want to bring it up.
But it's not.
There's
nothing to be put through.
There was a very, very famous Bitcoiner with a lot of power. Oh no. And he like called out Stacker.News for a lot of different things, and I just felt it was like very like just not called for. So I wrote this post about punching down and why people punch down in Bitcoin, and just really trying to understand the other side. Like maybe it was just a lack of awareness on his own part, or maybe he's just really criticizing Stacker.News and all these other things. And yeah, so if you guys want to read it, check it out. If not, that's cool too. Do you guys have any thoughts? Did you guys read it? I know EK read it because he said he read it.
I didn't listen to the podcast in question. I did not read this. I just don't give a fuck.
I did. It was really tame. He was just saying like, why isn't this integrated with Nostr? That's basically what it was.
Oh wait.
Somebody I know did make it integrate with Nostr.
Oh wait, Austin has something to say.
No, I just want to.
Okay.
Yeah, Stacker.News is technically a Nostr client, and
by some definition of it.
By some definitions, and I'm sure that the stackers and the developers of Stacker.News might be interested in any interesting ideas, contributions, and additions to the Stacker.News Nostr integration. And EK has something to say.
Oh, EK has something to say. There you go.
We are open source, so you can give us PRs if we're missing something. We're just 2 people working on it, so yeah.
Well, 3.
EK might close it. He might just close it without saying anything, but you
yeah, if it looks like AI spam, then yeah, don't expect me to review it.
Yeah, I think that was where I didn't really. I think I even said that right here. I was like, I think I said it right here. It was like, yeah, I said it right here. It goes, every Bitcoin company is dealing with trade-offs. Most builders are doing the best with what they have, and unless you've sat with them, heard their story, and walked in their shoes, we should be slow to judge and not assume anything until we've had a conversation with them. So I've learned not to dismiss or mock projects I haven't taken the time to understand, not to criticize what I've never tried to build myself, and not to rely on secondhand gossip or third-hand stories, but as we say in Texas, to hear it from the horse's mouth. Honestly, I think half the drama in this space comes from assumptions and miscommunication. The solution has always been and will always be more conversation. It's humility. It's being kinder to one another. It's meeting them in the middle, and it's not believing what they say about others who are not in the room to defend themselves. We're all building something that hasn't been built before, that deserves a little more patience and a whole lot more grace. That's what I said.
Car, have you ever written out a post? Like, when was the last time you had like a
post on Stacker.News? This is by me the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, but I felt like it needed to be said because like
Sure.
there was hate on both sides, and then I was like, okay, this is just getting out of hand.
Hate on both sides. Who was throwing hate from I don't
back over the wall of the garden.
It was just I'll just leave it at that. So
okay.
Yeah.
I think some people took it especially bad because it was like the week prior, NVK was on X telling people not to use Stacker.News that were using Stacker.News for op return stuff. So like before this podcast got recorded, he was telling Tidwell not to use Stacker.News, and basically had an argument with Tidwell about Stacker.News. And then he records this podcast, and that's why people are like, he's attempting to, he has an interest in being against Stacker.News. Not just this podcast, not just like a flippant thing. He's maybe a little more has I don't know, a perspective that isn't fully expressed in the podcast. That's I think why people were like, oh, this just builds on the negative shit he just said on X. So that's where I think it came from. Either way, it's drama, and I don't care. I mean, I would be interested. I would like to have them like Stacker.News, but I also can't control that. I can make the product better. That's all I can do. So that's what I will do.
Cool. Yeah. We're gonna bring up the next story I had was Hey is finally for sale on the iPhone, which is this story. It was a Stacker.News post, but I guess I pasted the wrong thing in there. This thing was interesting. So I don't know if you guys remember, a couple of weeks ago there was a case against I think it was the what was the name?
It was Epic Games.
Yeah, Epic Games. And Epic Games was doing this thing where they were suing Apple, but it was in the EU because they weren't able to link out to their own website for their customers to sign up to their subscription or whatever it was. Well, Hey is this like email app that they were trying to similarly do here in the United States, but unfortunately, like Apple extorts you, and they say it here in their post, like 30%, and that's a lot for a very small developer with a small team that's trying to make, Well,
he also says in here that he doesn't care about the money so much. It's just the relationship with his customer is the main thing that they had a problem with. Is Apple didn't even allow Hey's customers to leave the app to sign up for the subscription so that Hey could be aware of the customer and have a relationship with the customer. They were like getting in between the customer and Hey and inhibiting Hey's ability to serve their customer the way they wanted to. And so that's what he says is like the bigger issue, aside from the 30% take, which is, big, I think too.
Yeah. And so what ended up occurring is, unfortunately, like the Epic thing that happened in the EU hasn't really translated over to the United States. But I think it's here, it goes, I do hope, though, that Apple does accept the court's decision, both because it would be a stain on their reputation to get convicted of criminal contempt of court, but also because I really want Apple to return to being a shining city on the hill, to show that you can win in the market merely by making better products, something that Apple never used to be afraid of doing, that they don't need these gangster extortion techniques to make the numbers that Cook has promised to Wall Street. They said, despite moving on to Linux and Android, I have a real soft spot for Apple's taste, aesthetics, and engineering prowess. They've lost their way and moral compass over the last half decade or so, but that's only one leadership pivot away from being found again. That won't win back all the trust and good faith that was squandered away, but they'll at least be on the long road to recovery. But yeah, so this is what it looks like right here. And so they just want to be able to do this. You click that button. It says, hey, 30 days free, no credit card. Let's get started. You hit the inbox, and then it allows you to subscribe to Hey with your credit card, all that stuff. Thanks for buying Hey. And that's pretty much it. But It's really sad to see Apple become this. Yeah, it's really sad to see.
Well, it's been this. I think just to be clear, this post is about this decision at the courts getting overruled more or less, and Apple, for antitrust reasons, I believe, has to allow developers to do this now. So they're being forced back over the line in to a good position, where they maybe were overstepping it before.
That's crazy. 30% though. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Ted.
This kind of relates to the NAP post from earlier about free trade.
Yeah.
Right? Because like you just said, the court system here is forcing a company to operate that's not in their financial interest.
Mm-hmm.
So from like more of a Darwinian perspective, like in a purely hyper Bitcoinized world, I would expect more companies to act the way that we do not like Apple to act here, because it's in their best interest financially, and there's no checks and balances. So in this case, the court's doing what we might like
as customers or as developers.
But from like a purely technical standpoint, they have the upper hand. All someone can do is build another platform and compete with Apple.
Yeah, and even to Juan's point earlier, if we allowed, perhaps it's somewhat in the long run, it might be better to allow Apple to engage in this type of process, so that someone comes along who competes with them on this metric and further differentiates their product and gets people to transition over.
Interesting.
But us like policing them might prevent that from happening, because we're defining for them what the good company is and not allowing them to abuse us, and so there might not ever be enough differentiation between them and someone else should they come along.
And this is exactly why people go for the court system, and they say, okay, well, I just need to DDoS the court system. Like, this is how they made this happen, but this is why we end up in an oligopoly.
Yeah.
So that they can control these, high pressure power levers that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, good and bad, I guess.
Yeah. There is a balance, Car.
But like, again, like if you take the balance away, then like if you take away the balance of the court system, then which might, maybe that doesn't happen, but if it does happen, then that's a very different world with very different rules than the world we currently live in. I think it'd be more conducive to this stuff, not less conducive.
Yeah, no, I certainly think so. I've been reading, I reread, if I hadn't read it before, if I did read it before, Assassination Politics. I don't know if you guys have read that. That was by Jim Bell. Apparently it was written in the early 90s, but it's what got a lot of people primed for Bitcoin, like a lot of people in the like freedom libertarian thought movement. But he's like, if we have a digital anonymous cash, which he just learned about in applied cryptography and stuff, and began writing about this, and was otherwise, I think, a political writer. He's like, then we'll have anonymous assassination marketplaces, and so that's kind of what you're talking about. It's like we end up with alternatives to these traditional systems. Yeah. Anyway,
but I think you also just see like how Apple's just punching down. I mean, that's literally them punching down. That's usually what they would have done in the past. Is like Steve Jobs would have just bought them. If they would have saw a cool toy or a cool tool or a cool widget, they would have just bought the company. That's what they would have done under Steve Jobs. But it's a different Apple now.
I think that Apple was just doing, I think, to what Ted was saying was a good way to describe it. They were just doing what was in their financial interest, and they have this fiduciary duty to always do that.
I think they're a different Apple now under.
Oh, they certainly are.
Totally different Apple now under Tim Cook. Lost their way, completely lost their way.
I think of it as like, do you want to fight the gladiator in the arena or in the alleyway? In the sense of like, Apple is ready to go to court. They're going to court all the time, right? And if you don't like what Apple's doing, kind of like with what Ted's saying, it's like, do you want to attack them from the front, or do you want to let them go off with their own inflated kind of ego and ecosystem, and then eventually fall apart on themselves. Right? It's almost like, I guess, the idea of like exit versus like fighting them. Like, to exit is actually the best move to it's probably the most effective thing you can do if you're just running an app to further invalidate Apple, is make the best possible product and exit from Apple's ecosystem, and encourage people to exit and make the alternatives to Apple better. But I don't know, maybe I'm thinking about that wrong. But
I used to think there were decisions that like that were the best decision for like the situation. I come to realize you only make the best decisions for your company. And I think that's what I've come to realize over time. Is like, there's decisions that are the best decisions because they're the right decisions, and then there's the best decisions that are right for the company. And then those are over time I realized those are the decisions that you make for the company, not for what's right because they're the right decisions. And that's what I've come to believe. But it depends on who you have at the leading.
Wait, that's what you should do, or that's what people do?
I do what's best for the company because that's what I believe. But depending on the leadership will often decide what's best because it's the right decision for the right decision. And I think Tim Cook, the way he's leading it, is like, it's the right decision because it's the right decision. And then I think what Steve Jobs did is like, it's the right decision for the company because it's the right decision for the company. Okay. Not for the shareholders, if that makes a difference.
Yeah, like the pragmatic kind of decision that a shareholder would make versus the principled, no, I believe this.
This is for the vision, the mission of the company.
I see. So yeah, maybe the difference is vision. As Steve Jobs had reason to believe that not doing if Steve Jobs wouldn't do something like this, although he was in power when they did the 30% thing.
Oh, he was just as ruthless. Like, he was totally ruthless. But the biggest difference about Steve Jobs was that he had Apple at its core. Like, he understood what he was trying to do as far as like he appreciated developers and he appreciated what they brought to the. I mean, there's tons of videos where he there was a developer that like criticized him publicly in front of everybody at WWDC, and they were making fun of him because he had to get rid of a technology piece. I'm sure you've seen it before. Mm-hmm. And then Steve Jobs was like, you're right. I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. I'm not going to be able to carry this technology along with us. And then he like explains why he couldn't bring it along with us. But he goes, what we can do is, and then he gets into the why of it all. But I've never seen Tim Cook go out there and explain the 30% to developers. Like, I've never seen that. Maybe it's out there. I just have never seen it. Anyway, this next one I want to share was this one. If you saw this post, but Sam and Jony, did you see this?
I haven't seen the
video.
The video. I think they also did an interview, but I haven't seen.
He called him a visionary genius,
and it became very quickly apparent to both of us that we needed a third company.
A year ago, I founded IO with Scott Cannon, Evans Hankey, and
this is a big
Tang
deal,
Pan,
Keyan,
who are the most extraordinary engineers. They have built a team of remarkable subject matter experts that range from hardware and software engineering.
He looks like Brian Eno too. That's crazy.
Product manufacturing experts. And so IO is merging with OpenAI.
Formed with the mission of figuring out how to create a family of devices that would let people use AI to create all sorts of wonderful things.
So they never say exactly what they're going to make.
Deliver and connect us to
the limit of what the current tool felt clear.
Enabled and being the place of.
Yeah, they never say what they're going to make, but they announced that OpenAI has swallowed up the third company that they make and stuff. But I think it's fascinating.
You really drive home the point about their friends and they're making a family.
Oh, did you watch it, Jenna?
I watched it.
What do you think?
That's what I think.
Austin, what do you think, Austin?
It's amazing that this like excites people. They're like, oh, Sam talked to Jony and they went to coffee and
it's just saying I'm a sucker for Jony Ive. I'm a sucker for him, dude.
It's just for me, this was like such nothing new, especially like in a week of tons of announcements in the AI space. There were like real groundbreaking announcements. Like this fell into my stack of things I looked at, and I was like, why am I watching like a shitty health insurance ad? Like, what am I watching?
It has all the chemistry of like a John and an escort, where like they're trying to explain to the dinner party how they fell in love.
What really struck me,
but it's really just like a financial relationship. It's very transactional.
This is like an Eli Cohen like gay romance movie set in modern times.
That's what I'm saying. Like you can just see that, like with how often they have to refer back to the fact that they are friends, and how often they have to refer back to the fact that they're making a family of products.
To me, they have unlimited money, and they're going to be able to just make whatever they want.
What was the dollar amount on the
They
deal?
can, but they don't have to like pretend to sell it to us in a phony package.
I mean, but they
okay.
Like
that's,
the only thing
to make a show of that.
I just think they should shut up.
The only thing that concerns me is that I don't know if, and I don't know how Sam Altman leads, so I don't know how. It's just like is he kind of like, is he going to crunch them for time? Because I know that's how Jobs led, is like he crunched them for time. So I don't know if he's going to crunch Jony Ive with time. So like, is he going to be is he going to be nitpicking? Is he going to be like on his ass? You know what I mean? Or is he just going to be like, oh yeah, take your time, Jony, whatever you want, you know?
I think being a physical hardware product CEO is a lot different than being a software CEO is what I'd guess. And I think this is mostly an attempt to buy Apple's Halo, so that it can
then buy Apple.
And it's probably worth it. I think Jony Ive carries that much weight. He's basically the next best thing after Steve Jobs, to like hiring Steve Jobs for your company, and why they probably paid $6.5 million. I think there has been some
billion.
6.5 billion.
Yeah.
I think there's been some leaks about the product, the piece of hardware, and it's basically an AI wearable, like we were seeing back when OpenAI first came out, where you kind of have this device recording everything all the time. And that is, enabling you maybe to have like perfect recall of your life and understand yourself better and stuff like that. That's what I guess this product is going to be aimed at, and maybe it'll be beautiful because Jony Ive is in charge of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to hear Jony Ive narrate a documentary. I think he has a pretty good voice.
He looks he looks exactly like Brian Eno. He looks exactly like Brian Eno.
He looks like what?
He doesn't, because that guy's skinny.
No, I guess so. Maybe it's just because they're both British.
They're both British and like slightly bald.
And they wear glasses.
Yeah.
Who?
And they're both designers.
Brian Eno does atmospheric music.
Oh.
It looks similar.
I see. Electronic music.
Cool. Well, I thought that was interesting. And then the last one was this post that I read over the week. Was this one from Ben at Stratechary. So he had this really, man, it was so good when I read it. I told EK about it. I was so excited when I read it on Tuesday. He had this really interesting premise, and it lost its wheels after a while. It was about the agentic web and its original sin, and he kind of touches on what Horowitz said in the early days. You remember this, Keyan, where he wished he would have had, or Andreessen and Horowitz said about the early days, about how he wished he would have had commerce built into the browser and all that stuff. But he also talked about how, like, just in general, how ads, how I guess Google has, was a big proponent of the ad-supported web, and how search was, how Google, here it goes. Let me just go to the diagram. How Google was the marketplace to get you to the website that was going to allow you to visit, let's say, any website here, and then allow you to serve up ads. And AdSense was a part of that, and it created this kind of like open web, And then he gets into what was released this week with the agentic web and MCP and all that kind of stuff, and how Microsoft is going to allow you to connect and maybe you guys know more about this than I do, but how they're going to allow you to connect this this thing that attaches to every website that will allow an API or an application that's connected to a chat GPT, for example, that then recalls whatever information from a website that then can come back and serve your customers or serve data from your website. And then he goes on to explain how after that, he sees microtransactions, which he clearly gets wrong, and says how like stable coins are going to be a big thing and how you'll be getting paid fraction of a cent. And if anybody has ever been a Spotify artist, it's not a very lucrative endeavor to get paid fraction of a cent on a website. And that's where he kind of loses me after that. But he does end this by saying he does see there's like this protocol layer that is going to be users AI content. And he touches slightly about silos and about different creators. And it's kind of all the stuff that we've been talking about in Bitcoin for a while now, similar to what Stacker.News is doing. But I thought it was a very interesting piece from Ben, because he's a very deep thinker and he talks to a lot of these people. But he actually has his own business with his own like membership stuff, and so he's already doing well for himself. But yeah, any thoughts on this, Keyan? Did I explain it well?
I think you did a pretty good job. So AI is the death of ads is caused by AI and like agents browsing the web for us, and so human eyeballs aren't present to get infected with ads. So we'll need alternative monetization models, and the alternative monetization model that he imagines is micropayments. So that I think that is the train of thought here. On the stable coin point, I think Lightning Labs is making that prediction, and Tether is making that prediction that this is that it will be stable coins. And this kind of almost ties back into the rebranding Bitcoin and the units and stuff. Part of why stable coins might win, or one of the ways that people are proponents of stable coin, or one of the reasons they're proponents of stable coins is because they're familiar to people. And there's not something new that they have to learn. They can, I got a penny. I got a penny on the internet. I don't have to learn about Bitcoin. I don't have to learn about the units that Bitcoin has. I know what a penny is already. And so it's sometimes things just are like that simple. And so that's why we even see Bitcoiners thinking that stable coins are going to win out for a period of time. Yeah, I never liked ads. I think there is a place for ads. I think they make sense in certain contexts. I think it's just gotten way out of hand.
Yeah, the weird thing though is, and this is where I'll slightly push back, because if you ask any artist that has music on Spotify, like, that doesn't work. Like I have music that from my band, and I don't know if Austin, if you can chime in too. I don't know if you guys have music on Spotify, and I've had it for over a decade, and it's literally like fractions of a cent. Like it doesn't add up to much. I think it's like,
I think a more direct comparison is he's imagining a WAV lake, but it uses stable coins.
No, but let me just finish this point real quick. So it adds up to like fractions of a cent, to like $20 a month, like in fiat. Right. And then because so that's been going on since 2009, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So since 2009 to 2000, what are we in? 2025. So over 15 years, I've seen it go from almost a penny to now it's like less than a fraction of a cent. So that's how much it's inflated, right? For me personally. So it's gone even lower now. But if you go to podcasting, like, a podcast, if denominated in sats, can get you anywhere between like $20 to $50 per show, right?
Demominated.
Sorry.
No mom.
Sorry. So that's where I think that's where to me it doesn't compute for me, because I've seen it from both ways. Like, I don't understand why, and maybe you're right. Maybe over time people will get it, but I think if you said Car, I want to, use whatever media thing that I want to pay you a fraction of a cent to access your website and look at your blog posts, and it's just going to be streamed to you for viewing it per second or whatever that's going to be, whatever they decide. To me, I would just say no, just look at it for free, because I know just from the past using Spotify and being a musician, that doesn't scale. Like, that doesn't work. That's where I'm coming from, experience, already having gone through that for 15 years. Does that make sense?
I see. So you're saying, but I think the difference there is that it's not consumer to producer. Like, that's the primary difference between the podcasting example and the Spotify example, is that it's Spotify paying the producers, and then the consumers pay Spotify. And so the Spotify's operating sort of as this necessary middleman. I think, I don't know how he explains it in this, but I think you can imagine a microtransaction environment where that doesn't actually happen.
Well, no. So like you go through like I think we went through like, I forget what it was, like core or something, and you keep like 90%. It's not like, you don't keep like 100. It's like 90% of it, of the sales. You just pay like an upfront cost for it. So that's why I'm saying, like, there's always going to be middlemen with these things. That's why I'm saying, like, there's not like they're not shaving anything from Spotify's not shaving anything.
My main point is, I don't think the difference between Spotify and this, theoretical, hypothetical future is Bitcoin and stable coins. I don't think Spotify is the example of a fiat, and then we have something like Fountain as the example of Bitcoin. I think the currency used is sort of irrelevant.
Well, no, because I think maybe I'm explaining it wrong. So like in the early days, we had iTunes purchases, and then over time everybody just moved to Spotify. So it was more back then, because people would pay with, would buy the song through iTunes or whatever. And I mean, in aggregate, it would be like iTunes, Amazon. It's an aggregate of everything. Spotify pays the least. So you're grabbing, and I would have to show you like the dashboard that shows you all the streams and all the paid purchases that you're grabbing from. But it's not that much. It's like, it's all fiat, depending on how popular you are.
Can I give an anecdote?
Yeah, go ahead, Austin.
Maybe Austin. I think it's like different product experiences. So it's like with Spotify, I'm going to get pennies per tens of thousands of views. But the thing is, I'm going to get way greater distribution. But like back in the day when we were on Bandcamp is like, okay, it's this platform. There's, a fiat integration, whatever. But we could charge for songs. We could charge for merch. Like, we probably, for a very, very small band, Lifetime, made thousands of dollars on Bandcamp, $2,000 or $3,000 over 10 years. Whereas like on Spotify, probably double, triple, quadruple the amount of plays made like $1, right? So it's a huge economic difference there. But I think a lot of that is like the experience and the fact that, like, are you going through an intermediary like Spotify for your distribution, or are you just setting up a page through like a tool, and then you are taking responsibility for your distribution, charging what you think you should charge, and then people pay or they don't, people listen or they don't, they find it or they don't.
Yeah, that's a good point, Austin. I actually, this is where I go back to my original conclusion that everything's moving to silos and curation. I actually think the whole dollar fractional stablecoin thing is a dead end, leading to what musicians already have gone through for the past decade and a half. We already know where that goes. And that goes to only the aggregators, the open AIs, the people that are making these agentic open thing that they're calling these fractions of a cent thing. Like, they make the most money. And the only people, I'm saying the only people that actually win are the live musicians and the ones who control their distribution.
So is the future that he's proposing, is it the agents who are doing micropayments to the websites? Like, if that's the way you describe it, then then it makes the Spotify example makes a lot of sense to me relative to like the iTunes
the last
model.
thing that I want to say before handing things back over to Satya is to just sort of press on these like 2 points about why like open is so important here. So, it is unbelievable what can happen in the world when simple components and simple protocols that are composable with one another are out there, exposed to the full scrutiny and creativity of every developer in the world who wants to participate or who has an idea. This, thought game that I play with myself all the time is like trying to imagine what the web would have looked like if one of the actors in the early development of the web, like say the browser manufacturers, had decided that they wanted to vertically integrate and own the entire web. 100% of the web would have been dictated by the limits of their imagination. And it's just obvious with 30 years of history that wouldn't have been a very interesting web that we would have had, because the web is interesting because millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people are participating to make it into this rich, dynamic thing. That's what we think we need with the agentic web, and that's what we're hoping you all can get inspired to go work on a little bit, to riff on, and to use the full extent of your imagination to help make this thing interesting.
So I don't buy that. Microsoft has never made anything interesting, especially right off the bat. So this is what I'm trying to say. Like, I think musicians already gone through this, and in some ways, I actually think these people do mean well. I just don't think they have the experience knowing that where this is already headed. And I believe that they do mean well. They're going to try to do this agentic web, but it's just going to lead to the same outcome, where you're going to have these big and unfortunately
the agent runners are going to be Spotify, and
and that's not good for creators.
Can I just give my take, which I guess kind of picks up on this? Two things I want to say. One, a lot of people are trying to define this is the protocol that you can use for agents to interact with X, Y, and Z, for agents to interact with money, for agents to interact with data. So there's kind of a race where all these big companies are like, no, don't worry, Microsoft, we're going to deliver you this open protocol now. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be so open, and you're going to use our protocol, right? And so for me, that's
red flag.
It's a red flag at the very least. It's interesting, and we already see with MCP, Anthropic is getting huge advantage. They've started this incentive vortex where other companies are wanting to implement their protocol, and developers are building on their protocol because you're able to connect this great tool with this great tool, right? And so it's a very powerful thing. And picking on what you were saying, Car, this is why I think that it's so important for us to make Lightning and self-custodial Lightning great and competitive, because micropayments being made just all the time, micropayments here and there, small wallets being held by agents, none of this is going to work without completely centralizing all the infrastructure. Especially if we're in stable coins with this, that's even one other layer removed. Like if we were talking Bitcoin only, already we're in a world where that's very much going to centralize to a bunch of providers that are holding the money and executing the transactions. But then you add stable coins on top of that. And then it's like, oh, the agentic open web with open protocols could actually just be another web of giant companies and giant intermediaries that are holding the data, that are holding the payment infrastructure, and that really you want the bottom up payments solutions to lead the way for this, I guess, agentic web or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's going to be gatekeepers. That's what you can tell. That's what's happening. They're trying to make gatekeepers. And it's good. I'm looking forward to the fight. I love it. You need people on both sides. Cool. I think that's all my stories. Keyan, did you? I think that's everybody's stories.
I know Jana want to talk about.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, we haven't even got to Jana's.
It's been a long podcast.
Hey, no, we're gonna get into it. I totally forgot because I was in the other view. I'm sorry, Jana. We're gonna jump into Jana's favorite. I mean, finally, Zap Zine. And number 1 is here. This is from Hybrid Theory, Hybrid Bits. Oh, he's pro bit. There you go. 23 comments, 1173, May 22nd. Jana, what's this? Oh, are you talking? Do you have the mic?
Here I am.
Oh, there you go. What's this story?
So Zap Zine is from Hybrid Bits. He posted it. Here it is. He or they or she. Oh, check it out. It looks pretty cool. That's pretty much all I know about it. But
did you check it out? Did you look at the?
I looked through it. Yeah. He's hosting a PDF on GitHub.
I can't open it because it's a PDF.
And
I want to crash the thing.
It looks cool. The design is very nice. Put together.
How did he get Windows
clean.
XP running in his zine?
What?
How did he get Windows XP running in his zine?
Is that a real question, do you think? Is that a real question, do you think?
No, it wasn't a real question. It's a joke.
Nope.
Zapback is in there. A couple other Stacker.News things I think are in there.
Heard of dad
Check
jokes.
it out.
I've heard of car jokes.
And I think we can expect another issue next month, I believe. So I think he's going to keep posting on Stacker.News.
Is this y'all getting into it right here? Or?
And we're getting into it. It's a fight I'm looking forward to, just like the one you were talking about.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I don't have any. I don't know. What else do you want me to say about this? I think it's fun to have competition. So let's go.
Cool.
Let's go.
I also clarified. I was like, I'm confused. Is there 2 zines for Stacker.News now?
Yeah, I guess
And he said the more the merrier. And I was still confused. So is that a yes? He said yes.
Right.
And I said interesting. And I zapped on 1 sat.
You did. Wow. Look at that. 1 sat.
Cool. All right. And then your story was get in line for SNZ 9.
I just posted this today. Yeah, I just finished the zine today. I'm sorry I've been posting a little bit later than I want to be, but I'm going to work on that. But here it is. And I have a few zines here with me today. These 3 that are here that you can see.
Oh, there's 2 dragons in there.
Some dragons in there.
Wow.
Yeah, you should be able to find.
What does this cover mean? Can we talk about the cover first?
I don't know what the cover means.
Does that
usually
mean the world's melting?
So if you look at the first page, there's always a note from the editor.
Where is that at? Oh, right here.
And you'll see that I admit that sometimes I have no ideas. I usually pick a theme. This week I didn't have a theme.
Are you a swamp monster that's on fire?
That's cool. Did you draw that?
Yes and yes.
Oh, wow.
No, I didn't draw it. And no, I'm not a swamp monster.
Are you going to start doing comics in here? Is there going to be a weekly comic from you?
I would like there to be, but I have been adding a little bit of comics each time just because I have like this comic book that I like and I've been using that.
I enjoy the style that you have here. I like this
Appreciate it.
breakdown. Is this new right here? This SNZ at the top?
Nope.
That you have right here?
It's not new.
Has that been there the whole time? Oh,
wow. I forgot what I was saying, but check it out. Oh, I was saying like, yeah, so we don't have subscriptions up and running yet.
Wow.
But,
Look at Max got a nice little shout out. What is that? Bitcoin AI.
Yeah, the top boost.
The top boost I always add.
Oh wow. What is that? What does that QR code go to?
It goes to that Fountain FM episode.
Oh wow.
Of the podcast.
Max, if you're listening, Pleb Poet just hooked you up, bro.
Max, you're in the zine. Check it out.
Dang.
And
that's a way better logo than the one he has.
I was trying to, because I was looking through his stuff. I was like, what kind of imagery does he put with any of his stuff? I couldn't really find much, except for like the little ostrich and lightning. I think is
Max,
cool.
you should adopt that hive mind for the podcast.
It does look like a honeycomb.
Yeah, it looks
right.
Cool. Yeah, it's cool.
See, I can do things sometimes.
Jana's known to do some design contracting.
But yeah, look at if you want to. Since
oh wow, you even did the bits, sats, bits, numbers. Oh wow, look there you go, John Carvalho.
Okay, scroll a little bit. Scroll a little bit further.
Oh wow, there you go, Dorsey. Look what Pleb Poet did.
It's because like in the paragraph just above it, the guy is like, look, a rush of wind has fanned the embers, and the flames came from Jack Dorsey's mouth. And there you go, flames out of his mouth.
Wow.
So in lieu of subscriptions, you can just subscribe to Pleb Poet on Stacker.News, and that way you'll know each Friday when a new zine is ready.
Maybe I should do that.
But subscriptions are going to be up soon.
You know, I can say real quick, you're balanced. This is a balanced zine.
Oh, thanks. You mean
Good and Evil?
Good and Evil?
Oh, yeah, callback. I love that.
Oh, well, what did you mean?
I meant like it's balanced editorially.
Oh, so it's like Fox News, fair and balanced.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say that. No, I'm saying like because I was wondering if she was gonna pick a stance on bits or sats, but the fact that she has both in here, it's good. All right, we're talking about the zine first. Keep going.
I guess another thing you can show off here is
that's cool.
I always include like a full page illustration that usually has something to do with the theme, but this time there was no theme, so I took some liberties with the illustration. I just wonder what you'd think about a car. So you need to look at like further pages.
Wow, this is cool.
That one was really fun. I got to put a bunch of different colors in because those are all RGB.
Yeah.
Colors. Okay, here it is. This the left side or the right side.
Is that which one? The one on the right?
The right side.
Oh, Juan has that car. Don't you have that car right there, Juan?
That's a mock-up of my car.
Yeah, the one on the right side. What is that? Are you asking me?
Just do you like that illustration there?
I don't know what you're going with that.
And look at the bottom. There's a caption underneath.
Entertainment is meat for the weak.
It says not for the weak.
Is meat where? Entertainment is meat for the weak. No, where's the not? I don't see the not anywhere.
All right, well, just don't worry about it. I think that's gonna hurt you a little bit if you try to work it out.
Yeah,
so.
I don't get it. It's over my head. I like that picture of you on the left side, though. Just kidding.
Yep, that's a picture of me.
Dude, you were pretty jacked as a young boy.
I love how
I'm not now.
I love how Austin. I love how
you're still jacked.
I love how Austin earlier said, "I thought that was you." He's so in trouble later.
Okay, but you're talking about being balanced. I actually did try for these two pages.
Oh, that's
to present
cool.
like they're two different arguments. Right?
Oh, it's so cool.
Bitcoin will never replace fiat, but now I can use Bitcoin at Steak and Shake. So what is the truth?
I love these photos that you have right next to it.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to get this one.
Thanks. Yeah. So that's it.
This might be my favorite one yet.
All right.
Dude, you're getting better.
Let's go, Pleb Poet.
Zap Zine, you're gonna have to step it up if you're gonna compete with them.
Can I get one story in here for 30 seconds?
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, everyone's got a shot.
All right, Boog. I fixed the bug. I fixed the boog.
Oh wait, is it
search for 50K sats PlebDevs. You'll find it. 50K sats PlebDevs. Maybe.
Oh
yes.
This one. He says he's feeling robbed. Wow, shots fired. As of my slow, painful, inspired journey learning to program continues, I was using PlebDev.com and help myself. I got what? What did he say?
Well, Boog had some bugs on PlebDevs, and I was a little bit slow with getting him done. So he called me out here, and really got both me and EK to get to work and get them fixed. So we did, and I just posted a comment before this went live that is fixed. So that was all I wanted to say.
To ask, what does S/O mean?
Oh, shout out.
Shout out
to EK. Yeah.
My first idea was significant other, but no, that cannot be it.
Significant other, EK.
there was a guy that emailed me. There was a guy that emailed me this week, and he was asking about some Nostr stuff, and then I was like, yeah, we don't have any more Nostr stuff, but I would head over to plebdev.com and sign up there because Austin's always posting new content, and now I feel bad. But you got all the stuff fixed though, right?
Yeah, and to be fair to myself, it wasn't actually an issue with
the
platform technically. Okay. But you know, it was a good moment to just get flamed. Also, if you scroll down to that top comment, someone else completely unrelated is like, "Yo, this link is broken on your website, bro."
Oh wow.
Completely unrelated.
So people are just talking crap to you.
So I got free QA there.
Wow.
And then we had some back and forth and talked about the bug, and then and then we finally fixed it. Yeah. But it was kind of cool that like I was able to refund him right on the post.
That's good.
Like as soon as I saw it. So you see there's 50.1k sats. I just refunded him. He already refunded me. Again.
Yeah, I mute Boog because he posts in the saloon every day.
Oh yeah.
For cashew nuts. So I can't see that. It triggers me.
Shouts to Boog. Let's keep rolling. You know.
Like, rather than mute Boog, you can just not look at Stacker Saloon.
No, that's a free forum for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But Boog also has like great posts.
I know. That's why I hate. That's why
you're not going to change Car, dude.
Yeah.
You gotta let
I just hate seeing that. I think they just need to change their thing because it's just like a blob of like grossness.
Does it hurt you to scroll your finger like that?
It hurts my retina. Like, you know how I was looking at your zine right now and I was like, oh, that's so amazing. Look at that. Like, it looks amazing. Like, remember I was telling you right now? I was like, oh, I love that ending.
Yeah.
Because
you have a really sensitive.
I have a really sensitive.
Sensitive eyes.
Yeah. So whenever I see just like a blob of text, it's just like vomit.
Sensitive.
Go ahead.
I think we have a PR that would support collapsible stuff.
Yes. Protecting retinas. We should call it
That's beautiful.
Maybe
retina protection.
Blockchain Boo would use that for his cashew stuff.
Yeah, whenever I see it. I love Boog though, but it's just every time I see it, it's just I can't. It's just a vomit.
Yep.
Anyways, cool. I think that's everything, right? Is that everything?
I hope so.
Cool.
Any stackers going to be in Vegas?
Oh yeah. There we go.
I mean, maybe this is a saloon topic, but I was like, hey, I want to meet some stackers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if they.
I don't know what you look like, but you know what I look like. So that's a place to start.
Hunt them.
Oh, whoa.
Get them.
Hunt me down. Find PlebDev. I'm one of the. There's a secret seventh beast at the conference. Wow. I've got 2 wolves inside of me. One of them will buy you a drink, and one of them will call you a shitcoiner. No, just kidding. But say what's up.
So find PlebDevs and he'll buy you a drink. You heard it here first. Cool. We're gonna jump into the top. Look
at this.
Top Cowboys. And yeah, Keyan, top Cowboys.
Hello. This is the Cowboy segment. It's the best segment in the world, as Car used to say. It doesn't say it anymore.
It's pretty good.
Wow, you're switching back. You used to say it's the most boring segment, and then you were like, it's the best segment, and now
let's see what spot I am. It depends on what spot I am.
Pretty normal. Nothing's changed much from what I can tell. It's also really hard to tell if it's changed, which is part of the mystery of this fantastic segment.
PlebDev is 46.
So it's hard to say anything about it.
Dang.
So we have a lot
I've stacked more.
61.
I've stacked more than Austin
Where's
has.
Merch at? Is
I would
Merch
just
in
like
here?
to say.
Merch is, I would guess Merch. Merch might be a hider.
EK's 17. Blockchain Boog is going up. He's 5 now.
Oh.
Gray Rubies.
Who dropped out, though?
Undisciplined's going to take over.
I want to say a shout out to Public Enemy.
Okay.
He's been posting more.
Yeah, he's
and I appreciate that.
So
love getting to know.
And then Dennis 12. Aardvark, yeah, he always does the posts on his weight stuff that he does.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely done some good fitness posts.
Kepford, one of my favorites, 25. Max, 30.
Oh, Max is trending up.
Now it's made a comeback. Who else? Let's see who else is there.
Oh, Oscar.
Gandalf 21 is back. Haven't seen him in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
He's working on, I believe, Cashew.
Oh, Jimmy Song's back. 86. Logan. Our Logan.
I don't think so. That person has 0 stacked, which is crazy.
EK got him to
But
come.
not that crazy because they've never.
EK got him to come back after he went dancing with him. Oh, Peter Todd.
He zapped something hard.
Oh, did he? Oh, was it his post?
Can you tell?
Yeah,
you can't tell what he posted or what he zapped.
Yeah, zaps are private.
Bitcoin news. I think that's it. Anyways,
wow,
that's
what a segment! Really, just one of the best in Bitcoin. It's really putting them to shame.
I mean, it has its own hat, so
that's
who can say that?
That's all.
Notice that NVK's review podcast doesn't talk about that segment. Nothing bad to say about
and I
that.
also noticed NVK's review podcast, they don't wear hats for fun.
Yeah, they don't have hats. Probably. I don't think they have video.
They probably have like baseball caps, but that's regular.
Oh,
yeah, they don't have a trucker hat.
Wondering. Want to say something?
I wouldn't either. He probably wears his sauna hat.
Rumor has it they don't wear pants when they do the podcast. That's the current review.
Have you seen that live? So.
I am interested in the longest cowboy streak ever, because here we only see the current longest cowboy streak.
I think it's definitely the current streaks are probably the longest streaks. So I think mine is like 2 years. I would guess there hasn't been a longer one. I think KR had the longest one.
Yeah, KR had the longest
at one point, but I don't even think that was a year. Maybe a little over a year.
I think Ben Carmen's like very long.
No, he was always at Dark Horse.
He had one.
I think Natalia had one.
Tony had a long one. He was like up in the high in the rankings and he lost it, and then he got really upset about it.
I think Natalia had one
when he lost it.
I think Natalia when she was on Stacker.News for a while.
That's right.
I think hers.
She's enjoying her life. She's living her best life in Turkey.
Shouts out Natalia.
Yeah.
Miss you.
Yeah, she used to write some really good posts. Cool. I think that's it. Around the room. Jana, what are you doing this weekend?
I'm gonna just basically clean my apartment, the place I live, before I go to Vegas.
Nice.
Because I love coming back home and everything's clean.
Who's taking care of your cats?
EK is going to a little bit.
Nice.
And then my brother-in-law.
Nice.
Let's go.
Keyan, what do you do this weekend?
Go
to Shake?
I might. I'm gonna go to Vegas this weekend. That'll be like one.
Oh, you're leaving early?
I'm gonna leave early. I'm gonna hang out in my hotel room for days before and after.
Cool. Nice.
I like the change of scenery, but that's probably what I'm doing. How about you, Car? What are you doing?
I think me and EK are recording a podcast tomorrow, so I'm gonna come back here and work.
Ooh.
What are you gonna ask him? Can you give us a preview of what we could expect?
We're gonna talk about Stacker.News.
All right.
We're gonna talk about cybersecurity.
That's fun.
We're gonna talk about Bitcoin stuff and about his about some how he got into programming and stuff like that.
His early days.
Yeah.
Ask him about dancing, maybe. Ask him about journaling.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about stuff like that.
Ask him about playing piano.
It'll be fun. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Well, that sounds like a blast, Car.
Car, I doodled you while we were talking today. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, show the camera.
Well, I'll just show the picture that I took of the doodle.
Oh, look at that. Look how happy I look. There you go. All they can see is your hand, Juan.
Well, they can see it.
Oh, okay. That's cool. There you go. There you go.
It says, I used to think, which is something that you said today. So
there you go. Oh, no. That makes sense. There you go. Stackers, you have yourself a great weekend. We'll do the same. And Keyan, we'll see you in Vegas. Pleb Poet will see you in Vegas with zines. Buy her zines. And PlebDevs Austin said he'll buy you a drink, and he has 2 wolves inside of him. And I'll see you here next week at Pleb Lab.